Hi, welcome to 360 Science. This is a video in 360, so remember that you can move around the screen. If you're on a desktop computer or a laptop, that means that you can enable 360 and then drag it around with your mouse. Or if you're on a tablet or a phone, then you can just enable 360 and move the phone around like this, then you can see everything that I can see. Today I'm in the Beam Lab in Manchester with Dr. Gowan. Dr. Gowan, could you just explain how you came to be a scientist?
Okay. So I originally studied a clinical degree, actually called orthoptics, at the University of Liverpool, and this involves working in the hospital and looking at children and people who've got lazy eyes, so diagnosing and treating them. So that's often termed strabismus. And so consequently here I teach on the optometry course. So that's students who eventually are going to be opticians. So you might go and have your eyes checked and get some glasses from them. And then also I work as a cognitive neuroscientist. So that's how our brains control things like our thought processes and planning and movement. And so consequently I have a background in that, and that's how I've ended up at Manchester.
Sure. So as I said, we're in the Beam Lab. What does that stand for? What does that mean?
So the Beam Lab is the body, eye and movement lab, and principally we're interested in understanding how we take sensory signals such as vision and touch and turn them into a movement. So for example, if I'm trying to pick up an object like my pet bat Gaston here, I have to convert vision information about where he is with a sense of where my arm is, and then I combine that information into a motor act to pick that object up. So hello Gaston.
Hi.
Hello. What's your name?
Bernadette.
Oh, I love science. Yay. Gaston, you are aware that we're filming live here? Sorry. You better put me down then. Okay. Sorry about that. So where was I? I was talking about picking up objects. Now you think that that's probably quite an easy thing to do. But if you think about really young children and how long it takes for them to learn how to pick things up, you can see how challenging that task actually is. But also, some people who have brain injuries, so for example strokes, where they have a bleed on the brain, sometimes those people find it really challenging to pick objects up as well. So actually, a simple task, such as picking something up, is a complicated set of brain processes.
Yes, but if you watched a baby try and eat, it's like...
Exactly, they've got a lot of learning to do before they're able to do it fluently.
So, this is the actual lab. Do you mind just, if we walk around and you show me what a few of the things are?
Yeah, that's fine.
So, yeah, if you, in there, follow me around. So, over here, could you just explain what these, looks like a bundle of cables?
Yeah, so these are actually motion trackers, and what we would do is put these on various parts of your body, so for example your hands, and we can track your movements in lots of different directions. And this can be quite useful for understanding how well a movement is performed. So for example, I could put it on my head, stand on one leg, and see how well I'm able to balance. And so we can detect if people have got problems with balance. That's a motion tracker.
So does that link to this
interesting... Yeah. So sometimes we can combine tracking your body with actually tracking your eye movements as well. So this contraption tracks your eye movements. It goes on your head, and these bits here will track the movements of your eyes. We've got more newer versions now that just sit in front of you on the table. But this might be useful for, so if you imagine the people watching this film, if we had an eye tracker on them at the moment, we could see exactly what they're interested in on our film. So that's often why you use eye tracking, to gauge people's attention.
Yeah, I've seen things, like the kind of more subtle ones being used in, like seeing if someone's watching a film, if they're looking at the background, if they're looking at the person in front, so it's for like market research.
Yeah, sometimes it's used for that as well, yeah.
And like the elephant in the room is probably this table.
This is probably the least technical part of the setup here, and it is just a really large display where we've got a projector at the back there. And the reason it's so large is we're interested in understanding how you observe and imitate other people, and we like to have fairly life-size movement. So if you're imitating a person moving a hand around, we like to project an image of that hand and an arm that's pretty much life-size.
Oh, but it's just a more like, yeah, it's just a
Realistic.
realistic.
Yeah, that's it, more realistic, yeah.
And yeah, continue following me around. And this here looks like something you'd see in a opticians or something.
Yeah, so this is just a chin rest, but you're right, this comes from, if you go to an optician's, they might ask you to put your head on this chin rest and look at your eyes. But really, we're just using it to keep people's faces and heads really nice and stable while they're watching something on the computer screen and making some responses to some pictures that we're putting there.
Oh, right, okay.
So not as scary as it looks.
Yeah. So I think, well, everything in the lab. Last but not least, do you have any advice for anyone wanting to be more involved in science or pursuing a career in science or anything?
Probably a couple of bits of advice really. So firstly, find out the type of science you're interested in, because there's lots of different science disciplines and lots of ways of being a scientist, so get some work experience in some different labs. And secondly, you really need to enjoy the science that you want to pursue. So science can be fun, but it can also be frustrating when a lot of your experiments don't work. So you need a real sense of enjoyment to keep it going.
Yeah, I think that's something a lot of people don't realise, how long like one experiment can take. But if you're passionate about it, then it doesn't matter because you're involved and you're interested.
Yeah.
So I think that's all we have time for today. Thank you very much.
That's okay.
I'm sure we'll see you again sometime. Okay, thank you.